What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below, as usual. Um, this video is entitled Traditional versus Progressive. So I'm on the phone last night with a friend of mine, and we're talking about a situation, and it kind of made me think about the difference between traditional values and progressive values, because we were talking about responsibility. So if you have two parties, two people involved, let me make it simple. A relationship, and somebody cheats with another person. So my point is, her point was, if the person who steps out and cheats, they're ultimately responsible for the destruction of that relationship. And I was like, okay. I said, okay, I get that. I said, but she also felt like, even if the person, the third party or the side person knew, it's not their problem. And I was like, in my opinion, no. Because once you know, if you know that this other person is involved, then you're partially responsible too, because you involve yourself in the situation. And her ideology was, it was messed up the minute the other person chose. And my ideology was, yeah, that's true, but you and the other party, the cheater and the side person knows what's going on, and not the person who's in the marriage, right? And so both parties are responsible for, destroying their time, basically. So that was what it was. So for me, it spawned into the idea that, traditional values have a place in society. Progressive values have a place in society, and they both have their pros and cons. So for me, I think, traditions have a history. Traditions have a history that actually works. Traditions can be dogmatic and can get outdated with the changing of the time. But the traditions that are kept because they're timeless. They work. They always work. Now, progressives, on the other hand, they have no history. It's it's a hit and miss thing. You're learning as you go. So the progressive ideology may be is good for taking out the dogmatic stuff that doesn't work over time or has aged out, but it's not good at replacing the things that has worked timelessly. So it borderlines on trailblazing and anarchy. So my problem, it's really not my problem, but so when people are traditional, they follow these things, and the things that work make absolute sense. Why would if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So the things that aren't broke, I think people who are progressives want to break those things to see if it's fixed. And when part of the conversation we were having, like I said, was about responsibility. And my problem with progressive thinking is, progressives, because there is no history, there is no consequence. So if something isn't broke, but a progressive wants to break it to fix it, that same progressive ideology does not want to be held liable or pay the cost to be the boss when it comes to the consequences of that. You know what I mean? So that for me is a problem. And you see this in our society. There are things that work traditionally. Now people are vacillating back and forth between the things that work traditionally and this new ideology and this new way of thinking. So, the family structure worked traditionally and created less dysfunction than the structure that we're creating right now. That's a fact. We have thousands of years of information on that. That's timeless. So when we're trying to progress out of that family structure into something new, we're seeing all of these dysfunctions, you know, and now because we're seeing all of these dysfunctions, people who are progressives want to act like, well, you know, just give us some time to figure it out. Well, that time to figure it out is still destroying people's lives as we speak. So you wanted to break something that didn't need fixing, but now you want time to figure out how to fix what was never broken. Problem. And some people don't want to fix it. Some people just wanted it to be broken to see it broken. Like, yes, this is the chaos that I love. You know? But on the other side, it, like I said, it can be dogmatic. You know, when you're stuck in dogma, now you're doing things just strictly out of habit that don't work. You know, like people could say that the Second Amendment needs to be revised. It's too dogmatic. It's outdated. People are no. I need my guns. I need all 39,000 of them. You don't need all. You don't need all of them. You don't need you have a right to bear arms, but there can be a cap on how many arms you can bear. Does a person need 10, 15 guns? Not really. You need, you know, handgun. Like me, I'm a believer of Second Amendment. So you got a gun for each car. You know, shotgun for your home. A shotgun rifle for your home. You know, there you go. 4 guns. 2 handguns, a shotgun, and a rifle. What else you need? I mean, 4 guns. What's the problem? Choose the kind that's good for you. Choose wisely. But you don't need that many. You know, it's just like having multiple cars. You can only drive one at a time. You know what I mean? So there you go. And it saves you on the amount of ammo you buy. But hey, I have the right to buy as many guns as I want to do what with. We're not walking around killing people. It's just, you know, I have a toolbox. I don't, you know, I know what I need my tools for. I don't need to keep buying more tools if I'm not fixing stuff. I know the tools that I need, so I keep the tools that I need. If I buy things that I don't need, I get rid of the tools that I don't need because I'm learned in what I need and what I don't. So it's dogmatic to just do something just out of habit that doesn't work. That is, you know, not really feasible. But that's just my opinion. But if you're progressive, we don't need them at all. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Not with this country's history. You might need them. You might need them. Like, criminal culture is American culture, so you unfortunately you're gonna need a gun just in case. That's what I mean by traditional, progressive. Like, you know, because even with the progressive mindset, like I said, it borders on anarchy. So if an anarchy will tell you you don't need guns, that sounds like an idiot to me. You know, you want the family to break down and be whatever. You want this to break down and do whatever. You want these things to go away, and it's going to create all this downfall. But now you don't want people to have any protections against the downfall, you know, or the fallout, rather. It's like, no, that's stupid. But getting to the traditional part, I'm sorry about that. You know, that's the same thing with religion. You see, religion keeps evolving. And that's a problem. Because we say certain things are dogmatic because people are practicing religion. They're not practicing spirituality. So if you're progressive, you realize, you know, y'all are just going through the motions, but y'all are not really in tune with God. Your actions say this. So you need to actually be more progressive and start graduating into spirituality, because your dogma is chaining you down. It's anchoring you down to not evolving or not getting back to the essence of what it really was. So, you know, that's my thing about it. It's like, you know, things exist on this, in my opinion, things exist for a reason. So you don't necessarily have to choose one over the other all the time, but you do have to choose the most effective. That's why they say there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. What's effective is what's the most effective for everybody. Because let me say this. We were having a conversation, and I must end it on this. We were having a conversation, and I was telling my friend, I said, listen, norms and responsibilities and consequences go together. If something's a norm, everybody knows what's going on. There are no norms for exceptions. So if you're a person who understands what normally goes on, you understand the normal responsibilities and the normal consequences. That's traditionalism. When you want, when you understand exceptions and you understand the responsibilities of these exceptions vacillate and the consequences should vacillate, then that's progressive, because you don't want to to be held to the same standard of responsibility and consequence of a person who all of the rules are laid out. And just in my opinion, I don't have a problem with progressive thinking, but we're still gonna need traditional responsibilities and consequences. Everybody has to know your responsibilities and the consequences of your actions, even if you're a progressive thinker. So if it don't work, you don't get to walk off scot-free. So yeah, that's just my opinion. We out.